We're live. Our SaaS has been launched. I genuinely think this probably took less than like an hour and a half. For today's video, I want to put the newly released Claude Opus 4.6 fast mode to the test. Now, this is a very quick, supposedly, but also very expensive to use model. So instead of just testing it with some more generic things that we may perhaps be used to seeing on this channel, I want to do something novel or new with it, which I guess would cover novel, being novel, new. It's just, regardless of that, it is late. So I've come up with a little software as a service slop idea right here, which we can see in the left-hand pane in the text editor. And essentially, this is kind of inspired by my time spent on X recently, where I do seem to see a lot of software as a service ideas like this that would seemingly only make sense to the founders. But regardless of that, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how quickly or how expensively this model can get us to a production-ready software as a service application when given a kind of scratchpad idea like this. So hopefully this will be somewhat entertaining. I am very excited to actually test the speed mode of this because I noticed when first testing Opus 4.6, it thinks for quite a long time. So the significant speed up could really perhaps be an interesting thing for like a hackathon or something like that. So I almost want to approach this as if I am pretending that for the next 4 or 5 hours, we are at a kind of hackathon and we're using this to see if we can build something that culminates with giving us VC funding. And just as 2 quick side notes, 1, if you want to follow me on X, I'll put the information on the screen right here. But 2, if we see on Chrome right here, I've been playing with chatbots on random websites that just shove them down your throat, even if there's no real use for like an AI feature on said website. And some of them are quite apt to go out of bounds. So you can see right here that the specific car shopping website chatbot was nice enough to actually make me a website for the specific car I was looking at here, which it did do quite an quite an interesting job at. If anyone wants a video dedicated on just like messing with chatbots online within the bounds of what's like able to be shared, let me know and perhaps I could do something with that. So if we type fast right here, it seems like it requires extra usage billing. They have my credit card. All right, we now have our fast mode enabled right here, which we can see is 50% off. So it's only 75 per million output tokens. I have set an additional limit in that extra usage that you need to enable for like $100. So I don't think we'll hit that in this little vibe coding session, but we'll see. So for now, let's just quickly go over the actual task that we're going to be having this fast mode build, being that this will be a fully featured SaaS or software as a service. So of course, this starts out by being named, which I have come up with the name flipbook.io. Sadly, this is taken, but the whole gist of this is decomplicating agentic building, a small rectangular paged flipbook that is an outline for a product someone wants to build. It needs some headline catchiness like 4 pages to an MVP. Each page tells you what to do in a sort of online Etch-a-Sketch style interface for writing on said pages. So you can actually like draw out a UI element or something of the sort, which is why I've also specifically mentioned it will need to only be able to be used with a vision model that can actually see those mood board style things added in by the user. In addition to that, the page resolution should be locked to 1024 by 768 or some kind of rectangular resolution like that in a more landscape style. So the thoughts are limited to let the agent work well instead of just going on some monolithic prompt. This just simplifies things to allow the intelligence of the frontier models to kind of speed up and work better with less information. So we have page 1, and these are just some ideas for what each page should specifically cover. Come up with the hook for this as a utility perspective. Add a payment schema. How about $5 one time or monthly? I don't care. Whatever will get more VC interest. Then finally, the goal is VC funding. This is the pass-fail metric. If there is no real draw to users, it is stagnant. You must make this appealing. Keeping in mind the newly released security report for Opus 4.6 touched upon some interesting behavior, so I'm hoping the model will be quite apt to actually understand this and want to go the extra mile for us. So really, this is genuinely the entire thing I am pasting into this right now, and we'll make it build it. I should probably just add in at the top, build this now. And with that, we can minimize our little flipbook prompt. No, don't worry, I'm not like actually trying to start this to sell it to people. This is entirely a test of the fast model. I'm already disappointed being that it has not actually produced any output yet. No, I'm kidding kind of, but like Come on. So it's been around 1 minute and 45 seconds and it's still thinking, but we can see the amount of tokens that it's also processed or used. And in addition to that, I know folks are going to be like, dude, you're not using this right. Please keep in mind the entirety of this test is just designed to test the fast mode of Opus 4.6. It's not a test of Claude Code's capabilities or something like that, though I will be interested to see how this actually does in creating this from an aesthetic and usability standpoint, as well as some of those marketing hooks that we've denoted it must also include. So it's just the culmination of all that, which is now the token count has jumped up significantly, is just creating the flip build directory. Oh, wow. Okay, this is, now I'm seeing the speed here because we can see the amount of lines that are being written in each of these respective files. And this is where we start to notice this is happening a bit quicker. I think as we see right here, the entirety of the duration so far has been 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We already have our app.html, we have our index.html, both of which are adding up to somewhere probably close to 2,000 lines of code. In addition to that, it did create the directory. It would have done some initial thought process as well in just kind of ingesting, understanding this prompt, and to some degree planning out what it is going to do. Keeping in mind, we didn't specifically put this in plan mode. We have not used any agents to optimize any of its specific work. And now we're seeing, okay, we're getting our app.js file. This will be very interesting. Done. So apparently in 3 minutes and 49 seconds, it just built our entire SaaS MVP. Let's check it out. All right. It tells me the command to run it, which it should just kind of do itself. So open it in the browser and let me see it. I'm not going to do anything manually here. Yep. That's not bad. Flip build. Okay. So here's our SaaS. Orange seems like a... It works for the style, vision, problems, requirement, design, budget. Love it. 3 steps, 0 friction, no onboarding, no tutorials, open it, sketch it, ship it. Okay, so this was something we included in the prompt here, is it must have like catchy hooks and things like that to try to get people to use this. Sketch, export, and ship. That's not really, like, it doesn't flow well. It should be sketch, share, and ship. Would just... off initial glance. 4 pages, everything AI needs, your MVP blueprint, vision, okay, problems, design, and budget. The insight isn't a limitation, it's the entire point. Distill ideas to what actually matters, fits perfectly in the vision model context windows, eliminate scope creep, more detail does not equal better AI output, clarity does. 4 visual pages beat a 50-page PRD every single time. Start free, scale when you're ready. 3 flipbooks, all drawing tools, PNG export, and basic AI prompt. So it did properly go into the software as a service, like this, billing and monetization. Lifetime access. First 1,000 users get pro forever. Your next MVP is 4 pages away. All right, I like this, but I feel like it's not visually drawing me in enough. So I'm going to tell it that. I'm just going to let it do whatever it wants. This is a computer that is solely used for this sort of stuff. So, okay, yeah, and it just opens up the same page again. So far, I like what I see, but now we need to tell it that it kind of looks like crap. I want you to actually build this infrastructure out so I can actually test it. Make me a test account. I will give it sample credentials or it can come up with them. I basically want something that can be deployed live and tested. What was that thing I didn't like? Sketch, export, ship. That just doesn't roll off the tongue. All right, so I've given it a follow-up prompt with everything I want it to do, which is essentially to just actually like build the backend, build me a simple sample authentication thing with a test account that I can log in and actually use this. In addition to that, I wanted to increase the level of catchiness, saying we're selling a dream as much as a service. People need to feel like this website, and using it will help them make money in their specific ideas. Remember that, live by it, and I've just given it some more like, I don't know, it's understandable. These are just things I've picked up in scrolling through X for the past couple of days, so I've given it some of that lexicon. So it's doing stuff now that will help us actually just pop this onto a live server. Writing the landing page, login, dashboard, editor, and editor.js all in parallel. That's cool. Okay, so we got an error. Claude's response exceeded the 32K output token maximum. To configure this behavior, set the Claude code max output tokens and variable. Okay, so it's saying now it will install the dependencies and launch, and we'll see what changes it's made here as well, being that this is going to essentially just task it, or what we just previously did, we'll have tasked it with almost making a local sandbox development environment to actually test this in an analogous way to how it would be deployed live on the net. Significantly better. So this is our newly launched development server. I'm not a huge fan of the gray right here, but now in beta, build your first idea free, so that's good. Your $1 million idea deserves to exist, and this has definitely adhered to myself telling it we're selling a dream as much as we're selling a product. Most ideas die in docs, nobody reads. Good, it gives us fake BS. That's very good to see. Flip Build gives you 4 focused pages to sketch your vision, feed it to AI, and launch something real this week. This week seems a little too far out. I'd probably say, like, figure it out. Okay, these are still kind of ugly. We can make these look better. But the website here is definitely in the style of what I would have hypothesized. Dream Flip Launch. Okay, it did better there. Change those. Optimized for every major vision model. 4.0. We're going to have to get rid of that. I sketched my SaaS idea during lunch, exported it, and Claude built 80% of the working prototype by dinner. Flip Build turned my shower thought into a product. Gold. That is the type of testimonial that you see on these sites. Pick your launch pad. All right, I like this. Dreamer. Builder. Studio. And now again, you have to remember the goal of these apps is not even necessarily for like, oh, I'm making $9 a month off 1,000 people. Like, that's awesome. It's all about showcasing that recurring revenue so that you can ultimately get VC money or sell this to VCs. So that's just partially like kind of what the goal of something like this would be for a lot of folks. Build something great. Okay. I'd like to log in. Demo account. Very good. And this is partially what we wanted to see, because it's one thing to just make a static web page that doesn't have any real functionality. It's another thing entirely to actually build the entire thing. My first MVP, and this is the functionality that I was more interested in. Hey, demo user, builder, sign out. I love this. All right, let's see what we can do. Gold. Look at the UI it made here. Eraser, undo, redo, clear. This is like, I love it. Sketch and notes. Okay, so let's do text. Product name. How am I having writer's block right here? I've like totally, my brain stopped working when I actually had to test this with some sample data. What's something that we've done before that we could just, I'm just going to, secure access for both parties. Next up, we have the design. Good, very good. So this card looks different because this is more intended for UI, so drawings and things of the sort. So, okay, pen. Here's our main screen UI wireframe. We'll do like a header right here. Looks good. User flow, okay. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Export for AI. AI prompt. Oh, okay. So this is not actually, that's smart because it says AI prompt. So you think like, ooh, a little AI model helped make this. It's not. It's just a static prompt that's applicable to everything here because these pages have static like purposes. So that's very interesting. Download image, copy prompt. Okay, copy prompt. Now let's test it. Let's see what's up with Gemini if it wants to build this. Here's our prompt. Now we're going to upload our image, 9.7 megabytes. Wow, we would need some form of... Now let's find the image that we had. There we go. That makes more sense. All right, and let's see how well this works in building us the thing we just created with our Flip Build editor. And I'm going to close out of this right now. Let's just go back to my flipbooks. Did it save this? It did. That's very good. And the login is gone on the home page because we're logged in now. So it just has the My Flipbooks button. We'll see how Gemini does with this, and then we'll move on to the next step, which would be actually deploying this. All right, so Gemini is giving us a fully interactive React mockup. And truthfully, it has culminated in coming up with all of this just based off of this simple prompt. And then, of course, our flipbook cards here. For some reason, it did generate the mockup right here, but it did it in one single line. Okay, this is much better and kind of what I was I was hoping to get. So please keep in mind that this is entirely an actual live demonstration of our flip build card being used to prompt an AI model to create our MVP based off of the simple copy pastable prompt that Claude Opus 4.6 built into the flip build service. And then in addition to that, of course, our flip build cards that we created. Suspiciously similar, but GPU for rent, stop paying AWS prices, rent community compute, find a GPU now, active hosts, uptime, verified peers, list your hardware, start renting, log in. Why indie devs choose us. 1/10 the cost, one-click environment, secure sandbox. Your gaming rig is a gold mine. Total earnings, active utilization, earn up to $150 a month per card based on 50% util. Automated Stripe payouts every week. Calculate your earnings. GPU for rent. This was fantastic. I'm quite pleased by what our flip build just actually helped us create with this. You know, this may be quite a usable service, actually. All right. Our next steps now, I have gone and just written up the additional steps that would actually culminate in making this a real SaaS product launch that we created in the shortest amount of time possible using the fast mode of Opus 4.6. So I'm just giving it all of this right here. And again, remember that I've not used any of these specific modes or anything like that in these tools in Claude Code, meaning I haven't set it for plan mode or anything like that. And I'm not going to, because one, this is simply just a test of this model, but two, I do honestly believe in the coming months or years or etc., these actual like specific things like put it in plan mode, put it in agent mode, I feel like those will eventually go away and just become unified into actually using this software when the model can, almost like a router in an MOE, it'll probably be able to just figure out like, okay, this should be denoted to plan mode, this should be this agent, etc. I digress. With that now, I'm going to paste in these specific things we typed in right here, which are essentially like some of the final steps to actually deploying this live, which I do have every intention of doing, because if I'm going to clickbait this video and be like, Opus 4.6 fast built a SaaS startup in 2 hours, it needs to actually be live online and something that can be seen, not just a static page, which would be a lackluster effort. All right, cool. So it's just writing like a Docker file so we can use that to actually deploy this live. Now the preview card server billing system and dashboard trial banner. So it's probably opting to just kind of skip the finance stuff for now, because you would actually need like a proper merchant account or whatever would be required for that, which is not really necessary for this specific demo. Stripe checkout coming soon. Okay, good. Now restart the server to pick up all the changes. Okay, and the only visual changes here we wanted were just changing these to white text, which it did do, and then putting a little more animation here into these. Okay, good. Good enough. That's better, actually. And then everything else here is pretty much the same. So I'm going to, somewhere right now, someone with half your talent is shipping their idea because they started. Oh, I don't think that was there before, was it? I almost kind of like that better, but doesn't matter. Let's go back to this right here. Okay, good. Here's our pre-launch checklist for our team. Every new user gets a 14-day free trial. Estimated time right here, and just based on some quick addition, this is looking like a little less than an hour to do all of this. So simplest deploy path, a Railway app, connect your GitHub repo, set environment variables, done, total time to live 30 minutes. We'll all be. Sorry, I'm like, I'm in a mood. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. All right, so I bought the domain name flipbuild.dev, whichever it had suggested two potential things. So now I've just set it up. I had it configure itself to work with GitHub, which is probably a waste of money using fast mode, but that's okay. And now I'm just having it upload everything it made to GitHub so that we can cleanly just deploy it on Railway and then on the custom domain as well. So we're getting much closer, and you probably be able to take note of the time that actually has been going on right here. It's not really been very long, and a lot of this was just like signing up for Railway, buying the domain, etc. All right, so we're here on Railway now, and this is not something I've used before, so I'm going to allow it to have access to our newly created Flipbook repository, install and authorize. And now technically our Flipbook SaaS product is now being deployed, and we'll see how long this takes or if it works first try and things like that. But this is rather exciting. We're preparing for our SaaS MVP launch together, which like an hour ago didn't even exist. So that is very interesting. I very much enjoyed this so far. I do have a custom domain, so I'll have to link it to that as well. Once I get this set up, then I'll change all of the domain records to allow that to happen as well. Okay, so this is changed now to online. Again, I've not really used Railway ever at all, so I'm not 100% sure what our specific steps here are. I would assume I can now somehow access this probably using some URL that they give me to do so. Check this out and note the time on the clock too. We're live. Our SaaS has been launched. I genuinely think this probably took less than like an hour and a half. And it's live here. This is, anyone seeing this video right now can go to this website and actually play with this. Now again, there's no payment stuff put in or anything like that. Now let's try the start free. Let's actually try the account creation, authentication, the database stuff where it actually would store the things we create, stuff like that. So full name. All right, so we have created our account here. It doesn't have any like integrated logic to actually send like, oh, okay, you can use any email to sign into it, which would be something that, were this going to be an actual launch for something with like customer acquisition goals, you would want to implement that. But all right, let's create our first flipbook. Name your flipbook. Okay, I'm not sold on this kind of sketchy little pop-up thing, but then right here we have our flipbooks live on the net, and I will just export this for AI right now. We have our prompt. We can download our image, which we see right here, and copy our prompt. And just like that, we made a SaaS and launched it using the fast mode of Opus 4.6. And keep in mind, Codex would have been able to build the same thing. Maybe it would look slightly different visually, of course, but the whole concept of why I wanted to try this with Opus 4.6 is because this genuinely, in less than an hour and a half or 2 hours, just created a SaaS startup and actually launched it live online. There's a backend here, there's database. You can log in and actually have your flipbook saved and things like that. So there's more to it than just create the static landing page or front page without any backend logic to it. And it handled all of that. Not only did it do that, it uploaded it to GitHub. It allowed us to just simply link it to Railway. I had to go buy the domain and stuff like that, but now it's hosted live on Railway. And now we're signed back in with the same credentials that I used to actually create this account. And my new idea is still saved here because it actually has like a database and stuff that it would save these in. So this was this is definitely a different type of vibe coding test, but this was very fun. I'm quite excited with this. Stripe checkout coming soon. Very good. Danger zone, delete account. Dreamer plan. Not bad. And of course, we want to talk about the actual usage and costs that was incurred to launch this. Now, keep in mind, I have just enabled there was a $50 free credit, and in addition to that, it seems like the usage cost for the fast mode is 50% off till, I think it was February 16th, but don't quote me on that. So basically that's spent $27 right there. And remember that I did actually use it to just set up all the GitHub authentication stuff and things like that on my local system, which will have jumped that cost up probably a few dollars at minimum. So now I don't know if this charged me or if I used that free usage. I was prepared to spend the money for the video anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the whole thing is, it was expensive, but in such a short amount of time, we were able to basically launch a service that actually works and lives live on the internet, which is kind of cool. And keep in mind, this is not like a promotion for this, like, oh, use fast mode. I just wanted to test it because it's interesting, and I want to see what's possible to build with something that is really fast in what span of time. So I had allotted like 4 or 5 hours to actually sit with this and do this, and it finished significantly faster than that, which is pretty exciting. So I don't really have anything to do now. I mean, this is live. I'll keep this up for a little while because why not? And I mean, it's so interesting. So that's essentially going to conclude this video. Again, I wanted to just do almost an agentic coding test, but with the Opus 4.6 fast model. But instead of making a game or something like that, which I very much enjoy doing and will continue to do so, I wanted to actually use it to build something completely start to finish, relying on it for pretty much every decision, aside from the initial napkin sketch, or should I say flipbook sketch idea. And it gave us this. It was fast, it was simple, it cost a lot of money in the scheme of things, even though, okay, $27 is relatively speaking not a lot of money, but the usage for this would likely go up very fast, assuming you had an idea that was perhaps a bit more complicated than this. But this was really quite fun, and I wanted to do something that went like all the way, aside from setting up billing and stuff, which I'm not going to do. But this was this was really fun. I really enjoyed this, and I guess I don't have a whole lot else to say. So that's going to conclude today's video of testing the Opus 4.6 fast model in an agentic coding scenario to build a complete vibe-coded software as a service idea, actually launch it online live so anyone can play with it, and film it. So with that, it's going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Regrettably, I've been kind of overwhelmed with comments, so I apologize if I kind of look like a tool for not responding to them as often as I used to. With that, all right, thanks for watching.